Hey everyone, it's Matt with Flyin Miata. Welcome back to our next FM Live episode, and today we're going to be talking with Mark about his ride. Mark is our most recent customer service rep, but maybe not his first time with FM.
Yeah, I was here from 2005 to 2007, back before we even moved into this facility, actually right before they moved up here, and then left and just came back 90 days ago, maybe? So, but yeah, I was also got rid of my car back then, so just got a car like a year before coming back to work here, so nice. It's been fun.
Have you seen some slight changes from the last FM employment?
Tiny bit. Yeah, night and day. I mean, we had, I bet you, 6 employees. Yeah. And now we have, what, 22 or something? 20?
Yeah.
But it's amazing, though, because I think pretty much everybody that I work with still works here, which is kind of incredible. Yeah. And actually, most of the people that I came to work with, they were here before I got here in 2005. So it's that's saying something for the company. So that's actually pretty awesome.
For sure. Friendly faces.
Yeah, exactly. Well, faces.
Mostly friendly.
Mostly friendly, yeah.
So on the purchase of your car, I hear there's a little bit of a story about how you had to get it and where you picked it up and such.
So I had got the bug and I started thinking, I should build another car. And I think actually Mike, who's our sales manager here, he had posted on Facebook about this car in Colorado Springs. And a guy had slid it into a ditch. It was not very well cared for. It was kind of a mess, but it's an 03. It had 77,000 miles on it, and he wanted $1,800 for it.
Nice. I
was like, okay, take my money. Because I didn't really care. I knew that, the drivetrain was worth that much money to me. So I sent him PayPal, had him drop it off at my buddy's shop that lives over in Colorado Springs, and picked it up like a month later. So it's been kind of a project ever since. It had bent shock, bent lower control arms, bent subframe, lots of body damage. It's a good 10-footer.
All under warranty?
Oh yeah, completely under warranty, yeah, for sure. But it did run and drove onto the trailer under its own power, which in its own right was kind of shocking. I didn't think it was going to track straight enough to make that work. But since then, since I worked here before, I come up here and I'm like, hey, I need control arms and this thing. And Keith's, of course, I've got some of those laying around somewhere, of course. So got a set of control arms laying around Keith's house. They were about to throw out a subframe that fit the car. Went with the VMAX track pack coilovers, so that took care of my shock problem. So yeah, the repairs to the suspension were free, and then the upgrade, was, it was going to have to happen anyway. So it worked out great. So yeah, this has been a fun track toy, and that was kind of the point. I didn't want something that was super pretty that I was scared to chop up and do crazy stuff to, because that's kind of how I like to do things.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you, since it's your car, I'll let you work around it how you want, and just let our customers know the upgrades that you've done to the car.
Okay. So VMAX track pack. It's got our sways, end links. Brakes are actually factory. The 03s have the sport brakes. So, and I don't even know what the pads are. They were just new when I got the car, but they were not very capable at the track for dealing with heat. So, just upgraded lines and fluid, and now I have yet to fade them again. So I did it back in my old car. I always wanted to do a cold side intake, but never decided to do that. So fabbed up my own cold side intake, which is not real glorious, but it's what I wanted to accomplish, so I'll take it. And it's not completely complete. I'm going to actually run it out into the front bumper with a snorkel so that we can get a little colder air in there. Currently with the Mishimoto radiator, although soon I'll be doing a cross flow. The eBay garage very copy spoiler on the front, which I had the actual garage vary on my old car, and I love that look. Exhaust is super cheapy custom job. Got rid of the muffler, did a turnout basically to get it around my diffuser that I built. Yeah, so this car is built on a serious budget. I've been building a lot of parts for this car, buying, crappy knockoff parts like my steering wheel. It came straight out of Wish. I'm sure it's a real OMP for like $18. I've got less than $5,000 total investment in the car, and I've raced it for almost a full season in our local time trial events. And then obviously the diffuser is made out of street signs.
Yeah, who sells those as diffusers?
yeah, you can't really buy that. But I promise that my street signs are free range, organic, gluten free, and cage-free signs.
All the important bits that make a good race.
Obtained sustainably. Yes, sustainable waters. Actually, I have a really good friend of mine, Josh, that works over in Colorado Springs for the Parks Department. And whenever they're retiring signs, as soon as I bought this car, he's like squirreling signs away for me. So it's honestly, the stuff it's aluminum. It's really, really stout, and it's strong. My original car, the diffuser, was I noticed in some of the old pictures it was dipping in the middle, which meant to me two things. It was actually probably working, and it wasn't near strong enough. So with the new one, I went with the street signs instead of like real thin gauge aluminum sheet. But I also, this right now, I mean, the aero nerds out there, this is not the right angle, and I know that. This is the angle when I'm driving around on the street so I don't drag the thing on the ground. It's right now probably about 15 degrees, which would work if I had a wing, probably. But run that thing usually around 8. It's fully adjustable down to, I think, 5 degrees of rake. And then it's covered, bottom is covered up to here.
Oh, nice.
So there was a question, I think, about diffuser versus wing, and the diffuser is not as effective as a wing, certainly not at low speeds. Maybe if it's properly designed at high speeds, but it's certainly not going to be as efficient. But combining the diffuser with the wing makes a big difference. That's where you can run more diffuser rake, which is going to bring more downforce, but more than anything, reduce drag out the back of the car.
Catching off the bumper there. And stuff.
Yeah, and I'm feeding it about 30 inches ahead of it. So it's about a total of right around 50, 60 inches, somewhere in that neck of the woods. And 27 inches wide on the actual main part of it. But soon the horns are getting cut off and it's going to go basically all the way across.
Nice. And this is why you had to do a little bit of custom exhaust work, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if you can see that under there, Travis, but it's real glorious. And anybody that, if you can see the welds in there, it's flux core. So I apologize, but it's stuck and it's almost leak free.
That's why you continue to go forward. So.
Right. Yeah, and actually I did have an exhaust tip on it. Funny story. I went backwards over a cone, which broke my exhaust tip and wadded up my inner fender to the metal piece. It was an aggressive cone. It sounded like a gunshot. It was pretty amazing. So, yeah, and then these are, there was another question on wheels. These are 15 by 8 6ULs. They are, I believe, beryllium, although they're really, really dark looking at them compared to the berylliums that are sitting around over here. So I'm thinking that's more like a charcoal with a polished lip. And the 15 by 8 6ULs, I thought were a 36 offset, but these have plus 40 cast envy inside. So I don't know.
Maybe the
A
first
couple
round
years.
was
Yeah, this is a couple years old and they haven't made them in a while. And but in the nature of cheap parts, these were used and laying around, and I snatched them up for like $200. So and the tires are off of the Targa car. He had overcooked them, and so I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll take them. Price is right, free. I'll take that."
I'm sure it works still good for naturally aspirated.
It works pretty good, but they're starting to cord, so it's definitely good for driving up in the rain today.
Sipes are good.
Someone was asking about the suspension setup. They might have missed. Okay, yeah. So VMAX track setup. What's really funny though is I actually didn't know my ride height until last night because I'd been messing with it so much, and I finally got it to where I'm happy with it for the most part, which is 12 in the front and 12 and a half in the rear.
Interesting. Sounds like a familiar number.
It's almost like somebody knew what they were talking about. I decided not to listen. There I am, and they're back up in the same spot. I'm running almost full stiff at the rear on the adjustments on that track setup. I think I'm 4 clicks off, and then 8 clicks off in the front. I'm running the FM sways. I started off with the rear sway full soft. It just had too much understeer for the kind of track use we're doing, and so went to the middle, which has balanced it out really well. I mean, it handled great at the summer camp. It was the last time I really driven it that aggressively. It rotated the way I wanted it to at that point. And yeah, so it's definitely a stiff setup for the street. If you don't want to get bounced around, it's probably not the pick, but really it works really well. It's very effective on the track.
And you're set up mostly for autocross with that type of track.
Right, way more for that, although obviously the diffuser doesn't work very well in those lower speed kind of environments, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like at Pueblo or High Plains or something else.
Nice. Interior bits. You just mentioned the steering wheel. How about the seats? It seems not factory.
No, it's this is the super comfortable option. So it still has the factory belt, just in case Johnny Law comes sniffing around. But primarily use the 5 points, G-Force 5 points, the Kirky drag seat, and it is mounted straight to the floor. And I beat the sweet bejesus out of the transmission tunnel to make that happen. Straight to the floor. The fifth point is drilled through the floor. So it's really effective. It keeps you planted pretty well, and actually, I'm running the hardcore bar from, which is the tallest bar that is made from Hard Dog, and I believe with my helmet on them, I need to get somebody to actually come measure me, but I'm guessing I'm almost 3 inches under.
Nice.
Which is hard to do at 6'1".
Sure.
So
that's a good choice of seat for tall guys.
Right. That's the flip side. Being on the floor helps.
Mm-hmm.
So
still have foam in the bottoms.
Not really.
Oh.
It's pretty much sitting on metal.
You get all the response from the road.
Oh yeah, I feel it all. And comfort is merely a distraction. Somebody said that. I'm living it. It does still have the radio, which is funny. I was getting ready to yank that out. I pulled the thing out of the dash, and it weighs like a pound. I'm like, all right, so I guess I'll keep that.
You're okay with
and
that?
It's Bluetooth.
Creature comfort.
I know. I was like, you can't hear it, but that's cool.
So,
got a couple other questions. We'll start with alignment steps.
Okay, so this is not running our alignment, and this is me on my floor alignment. So it is running as close to zero toe as I could get front and rear, and I'm running 1.5 degree camber in the back and 2 degrees in the front. Which oddly, I think I need more camber in the back. So it's a little bit departure from our numbers, but I kind of just wanted to experiment.
Yeah.
And so I basically took like the numbers that Goodwin's put out, although he measures from the pinch weld to the ground. Yeah. My pinch welds are flat, so in 2 spots. So that was kind of a ballpark. And so it's kind of knowing what I knew from what we had done setup wise at FM, and just trying out some of the stuff that Goodwin was putting together, kind of meeting in the middle on certain things. So yeah, it's a bit of an experiment, but it works pretty well. So.
And those are always recommendations from our site. I'm sure Goodwin's the same way.
100%. I mean, that's a good starting point. Tweak them as needed, kind of thing.
Every track on the course is different. So.
Right.
So with FM or at FM, we always have names of the cars. Did you have the names?
Yeah. No, I didn't. But Keith did. So as soon as I got it, it was deemed the Black Pearl 2. So my first car was a 96, and it was really faster than it should have been, like lap time wise, all the time. But it also was clearly cursed. So on average, the engine came out of the car every third oil change. Every 12,000 miles, engine was out. Yeah, I wish. So oil pump failure, crank nose failure, thrust washer failure, and another oil pump failure, I think it was. And then finally I put a 99 engine in the thing, everything was working well, and sold it, and apparently it died again. It owned the name, the Black Pearl. This one hopefully won't. I really hope it won't.
Either superficial name.
Yeah, we'll see. But the Black Pearl 2 is fitting, I think. So.
One last question here is from a guy named Mike. He's asking where you're hiding the hairdryer.
Yeah. So I don't have I'm a hairdryerless under the hood, unfortunately. That being said, when I took the interior apart, as I'm sitting there telling myself this is not a hairdresser's car, I found like 4 pounds of bobby pins. And
It might not be your hairdresser car.
no, but it might have been somebody's. I was like pulling bobby pins out everywhere. And I'm like, oh man, this is a hairdresser's car.
So, besides removing a lot of hairpins, do you have any other further aspects of what you want to do with the car?
Yeah, so full bottom's going to get covered. Eventually, I kind of have left a lot of stuff alone, not knowing where my direction is going to go, whether I was going to do a motor swap or a turbo. I think I've pretty much settled on I'm going to turbocharge the car. So right away, immediately though, I'm going to redo the exhaust. I've got plans for that. I may build that custom, and then obviously covering the bottom of the car, managing that temperature as well, and playing with the new butterfly brakes when they show up.
Nice.
So, do you have another one?
Someone wants to ask about the hood vents.
Yes. So we used to sell, and you see them on like Elvis and the old pictures, the real small hood vents. I had those on there till 3 days ago. These are actually the Veris vents that are in the ND, that we sell for the NDs. And I was looking at it one day, and I was like, I'm not scared to cut holes and stuff. And let's see if those fit, because it looked relatively flat. I have to say they fit pretty much perfectly.
Nice.
So I, as much as I kind of hack stuff around, I look at a lot of computer fluid dynamic models, things like that, before I start hacking things apart. So I believe that these are about as good a placement as you're going to get for heat extraction on the NB, because that was about the lowest pressure point of the hood. But yeah, I mean, they're the shiniest thing on the car now. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. I would certainly imagine that the front pressure is going to be much, much lower under hood, but also help cooling quite a bit. Right now I don't have the under tray on the car, so once I get the under tray back in, because I'm going to be building a splitter, then that'll help with that as well. But
So your thought on this was just to be a little bit different, or do you prefer these over the singular?
Well, I like the look, but it's also too, like, you see a lot of singular vents, nothing wrong with them, they're great vents, and they're very effective, but I mean, what we have probably 3 cars with them just in the parking lot. So I was like, let's do something a little different. It worked out really good. It took me probably 2 hours.
It's kind of nice about the Miata, you can usually use other parts onto it, and it works out.
100%. And those vents are massive. I mean, I don't even know what the difference in surface area is, but it's a big change from the vents that I had in the hood. So
Nice.
should definitely improve cooling, I would think.
Yeah, it's a nice install. Well, Kyle, we're all good on questions. Mark, do you think we missed anything here? We didn't talk about power numbers. Are you still with the stock engine, stock power? Nothing fancy?
I'm not sure I'm making stock power, to be completely honest. And maybe it's just proximity. Everything you drive around here is pretty quick.
Yeah.
It corners like mad. It brakes really well, but it does not move down straights in very good fashion. Definitely not making any significant difference over stock power at this point. Definitely increased the throttle response quite a bit with the intake that I did, but I'm not sure that it's changed horsepower a whole lot, so probably 110-ish. But I've stripped about 150 pounds off the car, so that'll help for sure. And then, some of the things I've done have been I've been down this road before, so very calculated on what I was doing and what I was trying to do, obviously. And my my main objective, once I got the car for so cheap, was to build a race car for less than my mountain bike costs. and until I think it was the seat was what put me over.
Yeah.
But that was like by $100.
That's pretty good.
So everything on the car, and that was at full retail before I got here. So nobody can cry foul on me for building something cheap that oh well, you work there. Well, no, I haven't actually. These are like one of the few things about the course to work here. So yeah, but soon enough it'll get a bunch more FM parts stacked on it because that's how it goes. So
Very good. Well, if we don't have any more questions, Kyle, we're all good. We just want to say thanks again. Mark, it's been great to hear all your stories on your fab skills and your direction in the car for sure.
yeah,
We appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Anytime.
Yeah. If you guys do have any more questions, please put them in the tab below and we will answer them when we're offline. Thanks for joining us. It'll be next Thursday at our normal time, hopefully around 2-ish. So we'll see you then. Thanks again.
Thanks.